Young people with their phones and their Snapchats and their fidget spinners.
It's educational.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what I'm learning apart from how
You're learning stuff about physics.
Gravitational forces.
Chemistry.
Yeah. Either that or I could just...
What? Anyway, if you're over 18 and a British citizen and you're looking for something to do for a few minutes on June the 8th, you could go to the Balham Literary Festival. Or, you could waste your time participating in a democracy. That's just as fun, right? Or you could just keep on playing Pokemon Go. I'm kidding, no one plays that anymore. Us young people get a bad rep when it comes to voting in elections. Focusing on the UK, in the 2015 general election, only 43% of 18 to 24-year-olds actually voted. Back in 1992, estimates suggest that 63% of 18 to 24-year-olds voted in that election. Now that is quite a drop, but it isn't as bad as it sounds. Well, it actually is as bad as it sounds. But my point is that it's in keeping with the trend of the entire voting population. As you can see from this graph, voter turnout isn't what it used to be. With that said, the 18 to 24-year-old demographic does remain consistently lower than all the other age groups. Sort of like with Werther's original sales. Not to mention that the drop from 1992 has impacted young voters at a much greater extent than any other age group. So what's to blame? I don't know. Could it be that the current political system is unappealing to many young people? Could it be that some young people just think that nothing changes regardless of who they vote for? Could it be that some young people say they don't know enough about the parties to vote? And a small minority just can't be bothered. I bet that young voter turnout would increase if you could tweet your vote, or vote in a Facebook poll, or in a BuzzFeed quiz, or send a photo with a Snapchat filter of your chosen political party, or post. Sadly, this lack of young voter turnout is part of a vicious cycle. Many young people don't turn out to vote because politics doesn't serve their interests, and the reason that politics doesn't serve their interests is because many young people don't turn out to vote. It's one of these. A couple of arrows. Do you think that tuition fees for higher education would have gone up if young people came out and voted in full force? Not to mention that we're entering the workforce in the wake of the worst economic crash since the Great Depression. Plus, we are far less likely to own a house than previous generations. And the production of vinyl records is nothing like it used to be. No wonder we don't vote. Also, I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, that's right, the EU referendum. Young voters overwhelmingly voted to remain in the EU. A YouGov poll suggests that 71% of 18 to 24-year-olds voted to remain. But what was the young voter turnout like? Well, an initial statistic posted by Sky Data suggested that 36% of 18 to 24-year-olds voted. That is an embarrassingly low figure if it was true. A more recent study from the London School of Economics suggested it was actually as high as 64% of 18 to 24-year-olds voted in the EU referendum, which is not too shabby a turnout if I can say so myself. What's that? We still voted to leave the European Union even though youth turnout was high? Oh yeah. One reason often used by my age group for why they don't vote is that they feel disenfranchised by all the parties running. This can be a fair point, but I still think you should vote. Now when I say vote, I don't necessarily mean actually vote for one of the candidates running. But what you can do is spoil your ballot paper. What that means is marking it in such a way so it can't be counted as a vote for any of the candidates. Spoiling your ballot paper can be a powerful symbol. The number of spoiled ballots are totaled and recorded along just like any other vote. A high number of spoiled ballots would be an obvious sign that people are unhappy with the current state of the political parties. This would encourage politics as a whole to change and be more accessible to the people who felt that they were disenfranchised. That's the hope anyway. But if you plan on spoiling your ballots, be careful with how you do it. Here in the UK, as long as the voter's intention is clear on the ballot paper, the vote will most likely be counted. That means that if you wanted to, you could write "I secretly love Transformers 4" in the box and it would probably still be counted as a vote. Although, please don't. Also, really? While researching this video, I found a page online which was the frequently asked questions about the voting process here in the UK, and it made me feel very proud to be British. Stop me if you think these questions could be asked in any other country regarding voting. For example, I've been to the pub and I feel drunk. Can I vote? The answer to that, by the way, is yes. Yes, you can. But even better than that, the best question I saw was, I am a member of the royal family, can I vote? The answer to that is, it depends. Fun fact, the Queen and her close family are not allowed to vote. True story. Now, if you're in the UK, I'm sure you've seen and you will continue to see all over social media, here's why you should vote, top 10 reasons to vote, kind of things like that. And I think you should too, but you've heard all about it, so I'm going to keep this short. My point is that, well, us young people should get out and vote. We had a pretty decent turnout for the EU referendum, and since this snap election was called, 1 million young people have registered to vote. Almost 250,000 of them registering on the final day to register. Trust us students to leave it to the day of the deadline. Am I right? Ah, stereotypes. What I'm saying is, let's keep this trend going. 78% of the 60+ age group voted in the 2015 general election. If Jerry in the old folks home, who had to wheel an oxygen tank to the polling station, managed to vote, then we shouldn't have any problem at all. That's all from me. Thanks for listening. In the end, vote, don't vote. It's not a legal requirement. It's not mandatory. You have the right not to vote. Oh, and before I go, if you want to learn more about the voting process here in the UK, CGP Craig did a very good video about the first past the post system that we have here. I'll link to it in the end screen, and I'll put a link in the description to a website that will help you find your polling station if you don't know where it is. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next video. Go vote on June the 8th.